to the Elemental Entrepreneurship Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and it is Friday. I don't work on Fridays. Did I think I was going to be putting out a podcast episode today? I did not. And yet, here we are, because tomorrow the doors are closing for Powerhouse Mastermind. And yesterday, I taught a masterclass called The Subconscious Blueprint, the hidden patterns that are keeping your business stuck and how to finally break free. And this is the first time I've really publicly shared and taught about the structures we use inside Powerhouse Mastermind and why it gets results that I believe that nothing else can or does. And this is the first time I've taught this class. It was a new class for me to teach. And the results of it were that a lot of people on the call felt like things finally made sense and they saw themselves and they were like, oh, this explains everything. This is why my business is not growing the way that I wanted it to. And I think that watching it land so deeply for the people who were on the call made me realize that I needed to share it here. So even though I had said this call doesn't have a replay and that was the plan, I did record it for myself because I wanted to watch it back because it was a new class. And after that experience, I thought this needs to be shared. People need to hear this. Even if you don't join Powerhouse Mastermind after listening to this, but I think you will, this is important work and I wanted you to hear it. So this is a replay of the class. I went through and I cut out times when other people on the call were talking just for their privacy. So if you hear transitions where I say, I'd like some reflections, I left those in so that you could take a moment to pause and reflect. Those might be good spaces for you to pause and journal. If you're not driving, don't do it if you're driving. Or to pause and think for a moment about what's being discussed and how it applies to you. But then you'll hear me cut to the next part, and it's because I've cut out either me reading people's comments from the chat or other people speaking just for their privacy. So if you're thinking, oh, there's some choppy transitions in here, that's what you're missing is other people talking or me reading other people's comments. I hope that this is revelatory for you. I hope that it is profound. I hope that it is the shift you needed at the right time in the right way. And what I hope most of all is that if you've been on the fence about joining Powerhouse, that this is exactly what you needed to hear to help you make the decision that this is the work that you need to get you to your next level and that this is the step you need to take. Because I firmly believe that if this is falling on your ears, that it is, that is right and true. So without further ado, we're going to get into this episode. And if, as you're listening, you're thinking, oh, holy shit, yep, this is the confirmation I needed, then you're going to go to intuitiveedgecoaching.com/powerhouse and you're going to fill out the application. The doors are closing tomorrow, May 31st at midnight. So if you are hearing this between now and midnight on May 31st, I would recommend you get that application in because we are starting next week and I want you in the room. So without further ado, here is the Subconscious Blueprint Masterclass. There are two things that I am always looking at and always working on in my own business and with my clients. And the way that I shorthand it is inner game and outer game. Yes, we need systems, we need content, we need strategies, we need offers. Those are all outer game, right? We need all of those things to be set up. And then there's our internal systems, which is really how are we thinking, how are we feeling, and how are we making decisions? How are we feeling in our body in the day-to-day of running our business? And we need those two things to be working together in order for us to get the results that we want. So I'm going to start with a little bit of outer game, but we're really going deep on inner game. And some of the way I think we reveal where the inner game blocks are is that we look at what's happening in the outer game and we go, okay, here are the things I'm resistant to. That's going to let us know where we're coming up against some subconscious resistance. So if you see me looking down, it's because I have notes. If your business is feeling like scattered brilliance, I have disjointed offers, content, strategies, pieces that aren't adding up to the results that you feel like they should be adding up to, then you probably have an architecture problem. I believe that there are 5 essential systems that every business needs in order to scale with ease. I'm going to show you what they are. Let's see, move myself up here. So we need an audience growth system. We need a reliable, steady flow of new people finding you. We need a lead generation system. Not all of our audience is leads, right? Especially for those of us with personal brands, like with a podcast. Like, we want to have people in our audience who are just there because they like our stuff. They're not necessarily the ideal client, or they're not necessarily a lead right now. They're not ready to buy. They don't want to buy. So we need a lead generation system. This is pulling the right and ready clients, the buyers, out of this audience. And then how do we track who's a qualified buyer inside my audience? We need a sales system. So this is the process that converts these leads into sales. And we ideally want this to happen without you doing everything manually. Excuse me. A product delivery system. So this is how we give our people our offers. We want a fulfillment system that honors your brilliance and your work and turns your customers into raving fans. And we would also ideally like to do this in a way that doesn't put so much work on your plate that serving your customers is all you can do and you don't have time to manage these things. And then we need a customer retention system. So a way to retain your clients and re-sign them for the long term and increase your lifetime customer value. So these things can look very different for different businesses, different strategies, and different approaches. But when these systems are all in place and running, and they are as automated as possible, then your business is growing. That's just how that works. When you have these things in place, your business is growing. You have new people finding your TikTok every day. You have a way for them to get on your email list and raise their hand and say, I'm interested in working with you. You have a funnel or something in place that moves them from interested to buying. You have a way to deliver that to them that is fairly easy for you to deliver. And then you have a way to upsell them or downsell them to keep them in your business. If you have those things in place, your business is growing. Does that on its own just make sense? And this one, all of them are important, but I want to talk about just a simple thing that is an example from this week with a client. I was working with a client who was like, if I don't make some new sales, I'm fucked, basically, which everyone gets into that position sometimes. And I said, well, do you have a customer retention system? Do we have any like graduation offers that we can offer people who have already worked with you who don't need your full package, but might still want something? And she said, right now, no. We came up with a package on that call that was, but one was $2,500 a month and the other was, or $2,500 for 6 months and the other was $5,000 for 6 months. It's a very low lift continuation offer for alumni. On that call, she thought of 10 people right off the bat who would want it. She sent them individual invitations that day and brought in another $10,000 worth of sales in a day because she just didn't have any way for the people who already loved her to keep working with her. Right? So it's like these little holes are things that we can plug up pretty fast if we know what they are. So I'm just going to show you like a couple of little like more concrete examples of what these systems mean. So this could look like your audience growth system is ads, and you're running low-cost ads to a very aligned and valuable lead magnet. When I say aligned, I mean it's aligned to what your signature offer is. And then from here, once yes, I want this lead magnet. I want your audio training on how to awaken tantric sensuality in a 30-minute practice. Yes, I want that. Once they say yes to that, they're moved into an email sequence that's automated that upsells them into book a call with me or buy this $297 offer. And that takes them to an application or a sales call or just a checkout page. And then a reliable results product, right? This happens every time. You get the same results the same way with a mix of different support options to help them get the best experience. So maybe it goes to an application and you reply and you say, you can do this course that's DIY. If you want more support, you can have 2 calls a month with me and that's this much more. Or if you want VIP, you can get blah, 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 and it's this much more. And they can pick which one they want. And then we have some next step or integration container that they can move into after they've completed this offer. So that's one way that this could look. This is kind of seeing it in a different way. And this is what I would call a business ecosystem. So people can enter at multiple different points and then move around in our ecosystem. So I just kind of want to like talk this through. They come in through your organic content. They're coming in through your Instagram, your TikTok, your podcast, your YouTube channel, or they're coming in through a lead gen freebie. I'm running ads to this download. And then that takes them straight to a low ticket offer, something that's $99 or less, preferably like an automated thing. So you're not spending a lot of time serving low ticket offers. From here, they could go into your signature offer, which may be a group program or one-on-one, something a little more higher paid as your signature offer. From here, they could go into a higher ticket offer, like a one-on-one or a mastermind or a more high price service, high touch service. And then they would go into your retention offer. But another way this could work is you do a webinar, right? I'm doing this right now. I'm going to invite you into my signature offer. But if you say no, I can then offer you something low ticket, right? They don't have to follow this traditional funnel where everyone goes one direction. That's not really how it tends to work anymore. So when you're flexible, somebody could come in through a webinar. They say, the signature offer is not for me right now, but I will take this low ticket. Then in 3 months, I can offer you the signature offer again because now you've tasted a little bit of the low ticket offer. In this high ticket offer, you could be doing live launches. Maybe those are annual or biannual or quarterly. I have a membership once a year. I do this big launch for my membership, usually in December to get people in for January. So I could be live launching a higher ticket offer once a year. And if people say yes, they move into retention. But if they say no, I could loop all the way back here and offer them something low ticket and like start them again. So wherever they come in, we can kind of move them around in this system. And we want this to build this out to be as automated as possible. And by automated, I mean it's happening through email for the most part. So I just did a couple more examples of what this could look like. So this could be ads and emails to a free event, and then you get a $27 offer bump. If you came into this, I think this is literally what I did. You could buy this you could sign up for this for free, and at the checkout page it said, do you want this other thing, the CEO audit that's $27? So we may get somebody on low ticket right at the beginning. Your signature offer could be like a mid-ticket DIY course. And if they don't buy, you just pitch them something low ticket again. Their high ticket offer could be if they do your mid-ticket DIY course, then they're invited into a private mastermind. And then your retention offer could be once they've done your mastermind, there's some alumni rate so that they can stay in the mastermind for as long as they want to, but it's cheaper. This is just like a couple different ways that this could look. And of course, it's different depending on what your business is. And some of that consistency stuff, to be honest, is really just automation. Like if we get it set up right the first time, the consistency happens without you needing to be there because you have these emails that, yes, you had to sit down and write them once, but they're doing what they're supposed to do so that when someone joins your email list, they're taken on a journey that you've pre-planned and you don't have to worry about it. So I think for a lot of solopreneurs, especially, they think they're being inconsistent, but what's really happening is that they just lack automations. So here's the thing I think a lot of coaches won't tell you because they don't know, is that when you have these gaps, it's not necessarily that you're disorganized or you have ADHD or you're creative or you're too easily distracted. Frequently, it is the inner game stuff. It is the invisible architecture of your survival archetypes that pull you back into your old patterns the second you start growing. And they tend to prevent you from making the kinds of decisions and taking the kinds of actions that align with the results you're trying to create. And it is really frustrating when you can't figure out why you're behaving in a way that contradicts what you know you want. So I'm going to break that down. So first, I want to say I didn't create survival archetypes. The 4 survival archetypes were created by a woman named Carolyn Myss. Archetypes have existed forever. Jung does archetype work. If you're in the spiritual world at all, you've heard the word archetype. So I didn't invent the survival archetypes, and I didn't even invent applying them to business. So I just like to caveat that I did not invent this. I just apply it to business in a specific way because I find it really, really helpful. Our survival archetypes are 4 core archetypes that every person has. And these are universal patterns that shape how we respond to fear, uncertainty, and power dynamics, especially in times of stress or transition. So how we respond to fear, uncertainty, and power, business. In times of stress, business. These things are all over the place in our business. They are not inherently bad, right? Survival, they're here to help us survive. But they often operate unconsciously in their shadow capacity, and they drive our self-sabotage if they are not examined and integrated. So this isn't something anyone's doing wrong. Everyone has them. They also never go away. So the goal is not to get rid of our survival archetypes in the same way that shadow work, our goal is not to get rid of our shadow. We can only integrate it and work with it and continue to learn from it. And, okay, let's see. I'm like, how much do I want to get into this? I will say our archetypes got us here, right? They got you here in your life. You're alive because you've had these survival archetypes working for you. They're just not thrival archetypes. They are survival archetypes. Their job is to make sure you don't die. That's all they care about. So they can't take you into thriving. They can't provide you with decisions that are for thriving. It's just not their arena. So this is about awareness, ownership, and power. And once you see these patterns, you are able to choose something else. So just give me a thumbs up if you want to see what your survival archetypes are. Yes, I see a thumbs up. The wounded child, the powerless victim, the compromising prostitute, and the saboteur. These are the little survival programs running around in everyone's bodies all the time. I can tell when I'm looking at another entrepreneur's Instagram which ones are dominant in how they run their business. So, as an overview, your wounded child is someone who craves validation. They overgive, they people please, they need constant external validation. They're just a little one who wants to be loved and accepted and get a gold star and a head pat and be told that they are good. Your powerless victim blames external circumstances and is always caught up in some kind of poor me story and attracts drama like a magnet. There is always something that is happening to them that is the reason they can't succeed. It's the algorithm, it's politics, it's the economy, it's their boyfriend is breaking up with them, their car's fucked up. There's always some reason that they can't. The saboteur procrastinates, gets perfectionistic, is plagued by self-doubt, overcomplicates things, tries to talk you out of every good idea. This one is a master manipulator that is always trying to protect you from success because success feels too uncertain. And then there's the compromising prostitute who will sell out your time, energy, labor, and values for a quick buck. Hides your true self, chases trends, self-abandons the second there's a dollar on the line. The compromising prostitute has a similar texture in a lot of ways to wounded child, but it's all about financial survival, even if it means sacrificing your soul. These are the systems that have tried to keep you alive your entire life. And anytime there was stress or danger, they said, I got this. And that is a beautiful thing. We just don't want them to run our business. These little kids cannot be sitting in the boardroom of our business making all of our business decisions. That's all. They need something else to do. So I'm going to leave this here for a second, and I just want you to look at it. This is your wounded child in business, right? So we're decision-making from fear of rejection, second-guessing our offers and our pricing or our content out of fear it's going to turn people off. We're editing down our bold ideas so that we can be more likable, procrastinating on launches because we don't want any judgment or any failure. Caretaking in order to be good. So we're over-delivering, over-giving, undercharging because we want to be liked. We are not enforcing boundaries because we don't want to be mean or bad. We keep underperforming team members because firing them feels like we're abandoning them. And we know that they're going through a really hard time and they need the money. So we're going to put ourselves out so we don't have to hurt their feelings. We don't like visibility because we don't want people to really see us, or we share, but we don't feel like people really see us. We're posting from a place of please notice me rather than here's who I am and what I do. Constantly tweaking our branding or our messaging because nothing feels like enough. Emotionally reactive to business feedback. So if you get an unsubscribe or an unfollow or a client critique, you take it really personally. Collapsing when a launch isn't going well and spiraling into like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Avoiding taking risks because you don't trust you're going to survive disappointment. Getting into childish thinking traps, right? Wanting your business to feel good all the time instead of expanding your resilience. Expecting strategy to work immediately or give instant results. And then when you don't see those instant results, you want to quit. Believing that things just shouldn't be so hard for you. That's the mantra of the wounded child. Why is it so hard? I don't want this to be so hard. This shouldn't be so hard for me. And this is just from unmet emotional needs in childhood. Everybody has this. It's not something we're doing wrong. If we had any root belief of I'm not safe, I'm not supported, I'm not seen, the world or other people are going to hurt or abandon me, then this thing popped up in you and said, let me go be so nice to everybody so that that doesn't happen. That is child logic. Okay, well, if people are going to leave me or hurt me, let me go be really, really nice to everybody. Or it can go overly independent, hyper independent. I don't need anything from anybody. I can do it all myself. Right? So it's either very emotionally needy, please take care of me, or nobody, I don't need anything from anybody. So when your wounded child is making business decisions, then your business becomes a vehicle for trying to get your unmet needs met. You're trying to use your business to get validation, love, belonging, and approval. And yes, we need those things. We need validation, love, belonging, and approval. Those are core human needs. We just don't want to be trying to source them through our audience and our clients because that's not consensual and it's not really what they're signing up for when they're paying us to give them a service. We're trying to use our business to prove that we're good enough or that we're worthy. And we're trying to use our business to avoid criticism, abandonment, or failure. So at this point, your business gets emotionally enmeshed with your self-worth, and anything that goes wrong in business, you use to wound your self-worth. So I just want to check in on on wounded child, who's like, okay, I have some of that. We can grow them up. We can let them go play. It's going to be all right. So our powerless victim. I love a powerless victim moment. Like, powerless. I like to hang out in powerless victim. I just can't. I can't. It's not even my fault. I just can't. So you're always waiting for the right time or better conditions or more clarity before taking action. This one's really sneaky because it can seem like logic. I need to research more. I need to wait until the economy's better. Like there's just never a right time. Blaming external things like the algorithm, your niche, your coach, your team, your market for a lack of results. Avoiding responsibility for outcomes, especially when things don't go as planned. Also, how many of us have dated this person? It's never their fault, ever, for anything. Deferring power to others, outsourcing decisions for not trusting their own safety, right? So this is a big one. Well, I just did exactly what this person told me to do, even though I didn't think it was aligned. So then when it doesn't work, I can say it's their fault that it didn't work. Feeling like your business is always happening to you, not for you or with you. This one is also sneaky. You make your success a fluke. If you can say that your success was lucky or circumstantial or because of someone else's help, then you never have to internalize your own power and say that you did it. You're like, well, my success is a fluke, but my failure is all my fault. Being terrified any success you have is going to disappear, so you're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. Feeling resentful towards your business or your clients. I have to do everything. My clients are so needy. This is one. Have you seen people show up on Instagram and be like, I'm going to delete my Instagram because people just don't show up for me and people don't appreciate my content? You're like, girl, bye. No one owes you a follow. So like that's very powerless victim. No one supports me the way I support everyone else. They feel like they're being used by their own business or their own audience. Avoiding leadership decisions. So you're dragging your feet on hiring or investing because you don't trust yourself to get it right. Over consuming advice, but still feeling stuck. I don't know what to do is a major powerless victim place. Like I've taken 17 programs on this, but I don't know what to do. There's something that just holds you in that loop of like, I have to do more research. Burnout as a badge, constantly overwhelmed, but resistant to change. may complain about being burned out, but also refuse to do anything differently because change feels like a risk. So when we check in on powerless victim, is there anybody who's like, ooh, I have some of that? I am at the mercy of forces outside of my control. That's the core mantra for powerless victim. 100. Yep. This archetype is just waiting to be rescued. It's just learned helplessness. Someone come fix this for me. I'm literally just a girl. I am a baby. I have this about stuff breaking in my house. I am a solo female homeowner, and there are things that I just call husband things. It's not that I can't do them. I don't want to learn how. There's a crack in my fireplace. Do I look like I do masonry? No, I don't want to do it. I just don't. I shouldn't be in charge of this. It's not fair. So this archetype shows up from any experiences where we felt helpless or powerless or like life was happening to you. It reminds you of a past and past traumas and reinforces the belief that you're not in control. A lot of us have just had a lot of disappointments in life. And like, that's just real. Like sometimes, especially when we were kids and we didn't have the power, we didn't have money, we didn't have a car, we could not get away. And things happened to us that we couldn't get out of. Or we had compounding disappointments where we felt like we did all the right things, but we still got fucked. This is going to take root and be like, well, why should I try? It's always so hard and I never get anything. So compromising prostitute, she is everywhere in business. So this is about having a deep need for safety and security, primarily through finances. So this archetype often develops from societal conditioning, family expectations, or financial pressures. You may have experienced a deep sense of inadequacy or fear about being true to yourself, right? Conditional acceptance. So if you were shown like, hey, don't let people know how wild you are, how sexual you are, how free you are, how expressive you are, how verbal you are, like be quiet, be good, button everything up and fit in and get a paycheck. Go get a corporate job because that's what's going to keep you safe. Boom, compromising prostitute. There you go. I have to compromise who I am in order to be safe. And in this context, be safe means get paid. So when we have this running, we have compromised alignment disguised as strategy. Your business decisions are driven by safety, not desire. You create offers based on what you think is going to sell, not what you really want to do. You build things around what you think will work instead of what feels exciting and alive. Taking on misaligned clients because they're easy to close or they feel familiar, even when they drain your energy or they don't reflect where you're trying to go. So I see this all the time. I have people who are like, I want to pivot and I don't want to offer. I have a website design client who's like, I don't want to do done for you website building anymore. I want to sell my kits and my courses on how to build websites. But then every time a client shows up and says, I'll pay you $5,000 to build my website, she takes it, even though she doesn't want it anymore because she thinks she needs the money. Trend chasing and industry camouflage. So constantly watching what others are doing and reshaping your messaging to match what other people are doing because you think they know more than you. Diluting your originality in order to stay relevant in the zeitgeist conversation. Feeling pressure to conform to what's currently selling, even if it doesn't feel like a fit. You're studying your competitors instead of trusting your own ideas and being like, oh, it looks like that person's doing a mastermind. Should I do a mastermind? Oh, that person's launching a course. Should I launch a course? All of it is just externally sourced. Watering down your expression. So avoiding sharing your bold opinions or your polarizing truths because you don't want to alienate anybody. Tone checking everything for likability instead of resonance. Quietly envying people who speak with clarity and edge and wishing you could do that, but you feel like you can't. And then you start to lose connection with your own voice because it's been so filtered. Selling through abandonment. Lowering your prices because you want to feel accessible. Over delivering to justify what you charge. You're just packing your offers way too full. Saying yes to projects that aren't aligned because it feels too scary to say no. Looking successful externally, but the work doesn't feel aligned. It feels emotionally expensive. How do we feel about this one? So you also see, especially with the watered down expression, how it's really similar in some ways to wounded child, but the difference is the wounded child is watering down to be liked and approved of. Compromising prostitute is doing it for money. It's just the belief that if I say what I really want to say, I won't get paid. Any thoughts about this one? This is a big one that I'm working with people with all the time. I will say, literally, before I came on this call, I had a client call this morning. One of my clients, also in a place of like, I need to get some clients in. And she presented this package to me that she had created that was fully overpacked with way too many bells and whistles in it. And then probably needed to be bumped up in price by, I said, $8,000. It was way too cheap. And she was just coming from this place of, I desperately need a client. And I feel like if I make this really cheap and really valuable, then I'll get a client. And then we played out what would happen if she actually got 5 of those clients. And I was like, you will do nothing but work on this for the next 2 months. And at the end, you will not have enough money to pay your bills. Like, this is not even going to help you. I've been doing the selling through self-abandonment. Yeah, it's really common, right? And this is also where we get into business mindset stuff about feeling like price is people's only objection, and that if it was just cheap enough, people would buy it. And that's not true. So finally, we have our saboteur. This one also runs rampant. Saboteur wants to protect you from vulnerability because you were vulnerable once and it went badly. And it's like, okay, I sang in 2nd grade. Somebody laughed. I will never sing again. Anytime you want to sing, we're going to blow that up. I got to keep you in your comfort zone. So the saboteur's misguided intention is to protect you from the pain of failure and rejection by undermining your confidence, creating self-doubt, keeping you in your comfort zone, and basically just trying to not let you do anything that would potentially risk you getting criticized. It's been there since childhood, just trying to protect you from the pain of potential disappointment or rejection by keeping you from trying. So it can sabotage you from realizing your potential by fueling your inner critic and undermining your self-confidence. So that can look like you're constantly restructuring your offers and relaunching or rebuilding your systems, reworking your backend instead of optimizing what works. Launching 6 things at once, or you're always creating a bunch of stuff to avoid refining and scaling one thing. You don't want to go all in on one offer and say, this is what I believe in. So you're just throwing spaghetti. Chaotic leadership, delegating poorly, hiring reactively, and then blaming your team when things go poorly. Avoiding feedback, mentorship, or outside perspective so that you can protect your fragile sense of self-trust. Energetic whiplash. So one week you're like, oh, I'm so motivated. I'm so on fire. Create all of this stuff. And then the next week you're like in a shame spiral and you're like, all of this is bad. I can't launch any of it. And so you start back at the top. Going through intense feast or famine cycles that keep you from sustainable scaling. Fear of what comes with success. So subconsciously believing if my business grows, it's going to be more pressure, or more money is going to make me more exposed. It's going to be dangerous. Like, more growth means I have more to lose. So it doesn't want you to risk all of the things that come with success. So the best thing it can do is keep you from having it. It resists expansion to avoid being found out, abandoned, or overwhelmed. And then big wins are followed by burnout, breakdowns, ghosting, quitting or pivoting right before momentum builds. I see this one a lot. Like, somebody spends 6 months building something, and then right when it's like starting to go well, they're like, well, I don't like this anymore. I'm bored. And now I want to create a new offer. Starting lots of things, but not finishing them. Creating drama, right? With your team, with your tech, with your launches, with your money as a distraction from growth. Also, I will say for femmes, this can show up a lot by dating shitty people. Like, if you're always in a relationship with someone who starts fights with you before you have big things to do, or you're always dating someone who like needs a lot of your help and attention, and then you're like, oh, well, I can't focus on my business because my relationship, like, that is usually a tell of saboteur. And I see a lot of very successful women and femmes do that. Doubting, destroying, or deleting things that are working. Avoiding visibility, investments, or team hires because you're afraid of changing things. So we can see already that if these archetypes are making the majority of our business decisions, why we're not growing. Do we already we're like, oh shit, okay, I see it. I want to invite you real quick to just like give yourself a little love. If this is feeling like, oh no. I want to say again, you're not doing anything bad or wrong. These little ones are just trying to keep you safe. They're so helpful. So helpful. when you're operating from survival, everything feels fragmented. Survival archetypes fracture your leadership capacity. They pull you in all these different directions. They distort your priorities. They make it impossible for you to build a cohesive, intentional business because every time you go to make a decision, you get reactive. So you might be like doing things right even, but if underneath your energy is survival, appeasing, avoiding, scrambling, second guessing, then that's what creates the experience of like, I'm working all the time, but my business isn't growing. Because you might be working really hard on the wrong things. Or if you're in saboteur, I'm working all the time. Yeah, but I'm creating an offer and then I'm not launching it and then I'm creating another one. So I'm busy all the time, but nothing's getting out. So I want to just check in and see how are we feeling. So I have way more to say about this than I can fit into our time frame. So I'm going to skip some stuff because I think we already get it. Survival archetypes are exhausting. They diminish our industry positioning. They take us away from what we want. They cost us revenue, scalability, trust, clarity, positioning, long-term freedom. They turn our brilliant ideas into burnout. And unless they are rewired, our business will not evolve no matter how smart or strategic the entrepreneur is. Like strategy can't outwork this because it will keep coming up. So, what do we do? See, this is where I said I have a lot of this that we don't have time for. This is what I call the Powerhouse solution, which is the combination of embodiment, identity work, and architecture. We grow up and transmute our survival archetypes with empowered archetypes, and then we build the business systems that we need to keep things running the way that we need them to run. But we won't be able to build the systems and keep them running if every time we go to make a decision, we sabotage ourselves. So we have to do both at the same time. Frankly, our survival energy just cannot build an empire. To scale a business in a way that feels aligned and profitable and sustainable, we don't need to fight our survival archetypes. We need to integrate them and we need to give them different jobs, right? We can't get rid of the child, but it cannot be in the boardroom. It needs to go play. So we need to have tools and the ability to shift on an embodiment level into our empowered CEO archetypes. So here are our empowered archetypes. What replaces the wounded child is the sovereign, your grounded, strategic, visionary leader. They dream big and they move boldly. They are focused on long-term legacy, right? So when we talk about a sovereign, a queen, a king, I'm thinking about the wellness of the realm. I'm not thinking about my momentary feelings or decisions. Sometimes I have to make uncomfortable, hard decisions for the good of the next 5 years of my company. I'm thinking long-term. The warrior replaces the powerless victim. I am facing grit and adaptability, resistance with grit and adaptability. I turn helplessness into movement and momentum. I turn uncertainty into strategy. I'm not waiting for things to change. I make change inevitable. The market's fluctuating. Bitch, I am the market. What market? What are you talking about? People aren't buying right now. People are buying from me. I don't know what that is, right? Like that's that energy. Like, oh, that launch flopped. Okay, here's another one. We're going to keep moving. Nothing stops me. The lover replaces the compromising prostitute. Your magnetic creator, your unapologetic marketer, your sensual muse. The lover heals the prostitute's need to compromise by embodying unapologetic self-expression. They invite trust and visibility and full presence, and they show alignment is not just safe, it's magnetic. When I show up and I sell you the offer I'm passionate about from my heart, from my soul, from a place of like, what I always think of with the lover is like when you have a bite of food at a restaurant and you're like, bitch, try this. You have to taste this. Like that's the lover energy in sales. They're just like, oh my, why wouldn't you want this? You have to taste this. This experience I'm having is so good that I need you to have it too. That's magnetic. People are like, I don't even like chocolate. You're like, you're going to like this. Just open your mouth. Try it. The alchemist replaces the saboteur. The alchemist turns the saboteur's fear of failure into creative power. So instead of burning things down, the alchemist refines, repurposes, and evolve. Literally, I can turn shit into gold. Okay, this offer didn't work. What are the 5 key pieces of this offer that could work? Let's repackage it, do it a different way, put it out and see what happens. Let's just try something new. Oh, you're afraid to say this thing because you think people won't like you? You got to 8 Mile it. I do live in a trailer park. Like what? Just go say it. What can they do? Go put it out there and trust that the thing you're afraid people won't like about you is actually your biggest selling point. That's what the alchemist brings. They know everything can be turned into fuel. And all of these together, right? These are traditional archetypes. This last one I created, all of them blend together to become your powerhouse CEO. So your powerhouse CEO creates from alignment, scales with precision, and refines with mastery. Their power is anchored in their self-trust and sharpened through continuous growth. They move with intention, they strategize with clarity, and they innovate with ease. Their superpower is their willingness to just witness their own patterns and see themselves when they're in their survival shit compassionately, address it swiftly, and get back into alignment. This is embodied leadership, embodied mastery. Yes, I know that some situations are going to throw me into powerless victim. My willingness to see that with compassion and be like, hey, it happens. That's a part of me that worked really hard to keep me alive my whole life. I see that I'm in it, but I'm not going to stay there. What do I need right now? I need the lover. I need to remember why I'm passionate. Let me go do some work to get my energy back right, and then I'll make decisions. I will never allow myself to make a business decision from a wounded place. I am the master of my energy, and that's my edge. I want to check in before we move on. How do we feel about that? So, the powerhouse shift. We don't heal our survival archetypes. They will keep showing up every time you stretch, right? And I don't have time to go into the neuroscience of it, but as a species, we are literally evolved to just try to not die. That's our whole thing. We're not designed to grow. We are wired for growth to feel inherently dangerous. On a neurobiological level, expanding into new territory makes us go, we're gonna die. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. And we have to fight ourselves to grow. That is normal. Only special people decide that they're going to take on a life of continual growth. And entrepreneurship means committing to a life of continual growth. So you're going to reach for a level and be like, okay, I want to hit 6 figures. It's going to feel scary. You're going to feel like you're going to die. You're going to do a bunch of inner work. You're going to make some new decisions. You're going to reach that. You're going to be happy for about 5 minutes. And then you're going to go, what's next? I think I want to do a TED Talk. And then you're going to go right back to the beginning. And we're just going to keep doing this forever, which is why I believe that the archetype of the powerhouse CEO's superpower is just the ability to keep doing this inner work compassionately as you grow. So inside my mastermind, Powerhouse Mastermind, we build your business through inner and outer titration. So we plan the bold move, and then you start taking the step. And what I expect is you're going to freak out. I expect that. Something in you is going to go, I don't think I should launch this. I don't think anyone's going to like it. I talked to somebody and they told me that they were doing it like this. Should I change my offer? I saw an ad and this person said their funnel was like this. Should I ditch my strategy? I expect that to happen. Or you're going to be like, hey, I'm mid-launch and I don't think anyone likes me. I don't think anyone's going to buy from me ever again. I think my business is failing. I think I should close up shop and get a job. I expect that to happen. So when that happens, we're going to do somatic work. We're going to do guided meditation, EFT tapping, mantras, somatic embodiment practices to move you into your empowered archetype. And sometimes, like, if I'm mid-launch, I might have to do lover activations daily or more than once a day because my powerless victim is going to pop up and my compromising prostitute is going to pop up and be like, your offer's too expensive. Tell everybody it's 50% off. And I'm going to be like, what? Stop. No, we're not doing that. And that's what's going to happen. So we have to architect your business, right? We have to build these 5 systems. We have to build out your offer suite. We have to build out your lead generation. We have to build out these systems using the sovereign. What is my long-term goal here? What do I really want to build? Using my lover. What am I the most passionate about? What do I need everyone to have a bite of so badly that I want to show up and do this every day? Using our alchemist. What have we already created that maybe just needs to be repackaged or needs to be reworked? What did I create once as a one-off freebie that needs to become a low ticket mini course that we're going to sell, right? Like, what do we already have? What are the raw ingredients that we can use? And how do we put these all together? We architect your business for streamlined ease, and we resist the urge to overcomplicate or change tactics mid-build, which is what a lot of people do when they're working by themselves. They just like mad overcomplicate the strategy. We figure out what your exact strategic next step is that's going to move you to the results you want. And then we know how to spot it when a survival part shows up to derail your progress, and you have the tools on hand to shift it on the spot so that you don't get stuck there. What happens for a lot of people is that this is how we're building our business technically by ourselves, but it's in a 6-month to 1-year arc. I start something, I muddle through it, I overcomplicate it, I join a course, I don't do the work in that course, I abandon it, I overthink it, I get really frustrated, I come back to it, then I launch it. Eventually I work through the fear I have and I get it done, but it's so much slower than if you had done it with support in the first place. So when you build a powerhouse business, a business that is the market, you serve more people without worrying about burning yourself out or undervaluing your time or your labor, or without worrying that you're not going to be able to maintain your boundaries, because compromising prostitute is not running the show. You're creating more time freedom because you're designing a business that allows you to serve more people while also prioritizing your life and your lifestyle, because you're building from your lover and you're not going to do anything that pulls you into compromising prostitute and out of your turn on. You're going to make more money because when your survival archetypes are out of the way, your path to selling is more wide open. Like, when you think about how much money you could have made if you had just launched some of the things you've wanted to launch and gotten them out, that's all money that got missed out on because of self-doubt, because of going into a survival archetype. So my role as your coach is to help you lay a solid foundation that can blossom into a business that both makes an impact in the world and gives you the lifestyle you want. That's my goal. So Powerhouse Mastermind is not a plug and play program. It is not a course. It really truly is a mastermind. It is a bespoke place for CEOs who need a second set of eyes, a strategic mind in their corner, but also I have a laser focus for a little throwaway comment someone makes in a sentence where I'm like, that's powerless victim. Hold on, what was that? What was that thing you just said? Nobody buys in the summer? Wait, go back. Let's talk about that. Oh, we can't launch that in fall because people don't buy during the holidays? Hold on. Wait, what? Right? Oh, you're worried about saying that thing because you don't want people to blah, blah, blah. Hold on, come back, right? I have a really keen eye for that. So there are times when people don't know that they're about to make a very expensive decision from a survival place. I will catch it. The point of this class was not to inspire you, though I hope I did. It was to show you what's been fragmenting your business and what changes when you stop letting your survival archetypes run your decisions. And that's what we do in Powerhouse Mastermind. And that's why I really feel like this work gets results that no other mastermind does. It is also not a mastermind. Many of us have been in these where you get in there and there is nothing and like it's just vibes. It's not that. So there is some structure, right? We have this inner game, outer game scaffolding. We are refining your business model, your offers, your marketing strategy. We're building systems and structure that support your growth. I will get on and screen share with you and set up your Facebook ads account and your pixel. Like, I have rewritten people's sales page copy. You can submit every single thing to me and get personalized feedback because it's a very small group. We map out your boldest moves and help you implement them with confidence. We take all the offers and all the content and all the ideas you've already created and form them into a body of work that becomes your legacy and your goldmine. And then on the inner game side, we're uncovering these subconscious patterns that are sabotaging your scaling in real time as they're coming up. And there's a dashboard for all of these archetypes. There are videos, there are embodiment practices, there are tapping scripts, there are guided meditations that you can just go into when you're like, oh, I need a lover activation today. Grab it. It's there for you. So yes, you can come in on the call and be like, I'm having a block and I don't know what it is. Here it is. And we can talk it through. There's a Slack. You can voice note me anytime. But also once you start to feel familiar, you can just go into the dashboard and grab what you need at any moment. So we're building the emotional and nervous system capacity to hold your success. And we're coaching you back into empowered archetype decision-making over and over and over again until you can take the training wheels off, until you can do it without me. My favorite thing is when clients are like, I was about to do this, and then I heard your voice in my head say blah, 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 and I did it. And I'm like, yes. So the goal is not that you need me. The goal is that you build this internal scaffolding for yourself. So we are rewiring your nervous system and architecting your business simultaneously. Inside, you get bi-weekly group coaching calls. So we meet twice a month, and there is real masterminding. So we do a little stuff at the beginning. Sometimes we do breakouts. I like to pair people up when they have similar businesses or similar things to talk about. We have group discussions where, right, like sometimes, for example, I had one person in the group last year who owned a high-level marketing company. So if we're getting marketing questions on the call, I'll give some feedback, but I'll also be like, Issa, do you want to take this? Because you have the benefit of having a marketing professional on the call. So it's not just me. Everyone is helping everybody, and you have me. We have a private Slack. So you can message me, you can message the group, but you can also upload, here's a Google Doc, here's a sales page, here's my Canva graphics. Will you look at this? I'm in there every day. And then 2 custom virtual retreats that we do twice a year. So if everybody's like, we all want to do ads, we all want an ads training, I will bring in an ads specialist, and that will be what our retreat is. So we kind of shape the retreat based on what's going on in the group and what people really want. And you get this for an entire year. You have me all up in your business for an entire year or longer, because you can stay as long as you'd like to stay. The other 2 things that I love, I already told you about the archetype dashboard, but the other thing that you're getting on the outer game end is what I'm calling the monthly CEO growth report. So every month you're going to fill out this little form where you're going to track, I'm helping you track your needle movers, your revenue, your strategy, but also your nervous system patterns. What was coming up this month the most? What's really working and where am I struggling? So that as your coach, I know what's going on all the time. No one is getting lost. I know your month over month number growth. I know your social media growth. I know your email list growth. I know what's working because we're tracking it together all the time and no one's ever getting lost. So I know when we come into a coaching call, like I'm already dialed into what's going on in your business because we're keeping track of these things together. So many masterminds that are like this are $25K a year or more. Powerhouse is $9,999 when you pay in full. So you save $657 when you pay in full, and I have Klarna, or monthly payments of $888. The moment you see a pattern is the moment you can choose something else. And most people don't. They take notes and they keep going and they try to do it all themselves, and then they are in the same place a year from now that they are today. But you already know that you're not going to do that. So that's why I want to invite you today, and I want to incentivize you to take this action today. I've also told some people if the 12 monthly payments doesn't work, there's 444 biweekly, but I've had some people be like, hey, can I pay you like a bigger chunk up front and then have a lower monthly payment plan? Could we do it like this? My answer is always yes. Like if money is the only thing, let me know what you need to make it work and we'll make it work. I can't wait to see you inside.
That's our episode for today. Thank you, as always, for being here and for listening to the podcast. I know there are so many things that you could be doing with your time, so many things you could be listening to. It is an honor that you choose to be here. Connect with me on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. Have a great day.